Alright, team. Eyes and ears towards the board, let's go. It's recording, it's 26 seconds already. We settled. Jake, if I see that again, I'm going to be asking for that onto my table, alright? So I've asked Rubik's Cube to be away. You can do that during recess and lunch, don't do it during my lessons. Okay? You ready? Waiting? Good. Eyes and ears towards the board. Active listening or actively note-taking. Okay? Here we go. Exercise 5E. We're going to work with fractions today. So, we're going to work with question 4, question 5. I'm going to start off there just to get right into how to add and subtract fractional algebra. I'm going to do the first one with you, 4A. Okay, we're going to do 4A just on the right-hand side over here. So let's do 4A. I want you to copy down. You've got x over 4. Add with 2x over 4. Okay, and then we're going to do one where the fractions are different types. So let's say I'm going to give you 5f. Okay, we're going to do 5f next. Okay, so I want you to copy this one down. 5f. I'm doing question 5f. You got 2t over 5 minus t over 3. Okay, so let's have a go here. I'm going to do this example over here first. Now, question method answer. I want to see your question. So write your question, equal signs, and then when you're adding fractions and subtracting fractions, it has to be the same denominator. Are they the same denominators right now? Let's go with Luca, who's very focused. Are they the same denominators? I'm doing 4A right now. Yes, they are, because I can see 4 and a 4, so that means they are the same type of fractions. They're both quarters. Okay, so they're types of quarters. And so if they are the same denominators, you can add them. And I want you to write in the next line, it's all out of 4 to remind you, you're not adding the 4 and the 4. You're just saying how many quarters you have. So in terms of quarters, I have x plus another 2x. Now, this is the only part that's different in algebra fractions than, say, fractions normally. Before you add them in the numerator, you have to check, can you add these two terms? So having a look at x and 2x, can you add these two terms together? Let's go to James. Can you add them? Yes. Why? Because they're both x. They're both the same terms. Okay? These two are currently the same terms. They're both x's. That's why you can. Now, you do x plus 2x. What does that simplify to? 3x. Very good. So you can then write 3x over 4. This is a simplification. Instead of writing x plus 4, which is one term, and 2x plus 4, which is another term, it was much easier to write 3x plus 4. 3x over 4. Okay? Now, you're doing the same thing. So notice question method answer is the way I want to see you do them. Let's have a look at 5f now. Are they the same denominators in this question here? Let's go with Ashley. Do they have the same denominators right now? No. But I need them to be the same denominators. What would I do, Krish?
Make it both 15, like LCM.
Very good. So he said LCM. What does LCM stand for, Dan? Very good. Lowest common multiple. So it means, how did he know it was 15? This is where your times tables come in. If you didn't know the lowest common multiple was 15, how do you find out? Write down the times tables you see. So you got 5 as a times table. So 5 times table is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. It goes onwards. Then you do the same thing for 3 times tables. You got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. You're trying to find which two numbers are the same. And we can see they both have a 15. That's the first common multiple. That's why we call that the lowest common multiple, which is 15. So now, in your second line, we know that we want 15, but you need to show me your working solution. How do we get 15 here? What would you have to do? Let's go with Cooper. How do I get 15? 5 times 3, very good. So Cooper says we have to times the denominator by 3, but what else do you have to multiply? Let's go with Emmy. If I multiply the 5 by 3, what else do I have to multiply? Very good. But then what's 2t times 3? Let's go with Logan. What's 2t times 3? 6t. Very good. So I know this is 6t. So remember, 2 next to the t means what again? What does 2 next to the t mean? 2 times t. So this is 2 times t times 3. Now I don't know what 2 times t is, but I do know I can swap the order. I'm going to do 2 times 3, which is 6. So 6 times t was better written as 6t. Over here, I need to do the same for the 3. How do I change from 3 to 15? Let's go with Blaze. How do I go from 3 to 15?
Times it by 5.
Times it by 5, very good. So I'm going to multiply the 5 to the 3, but that means I have to times the top by 5 as well. And what's t times 5? Let's go with Luke. 5t, very good. We've got 5t. Now don't forget this minus symbol that should be there as well. So we got 6t over 15. So these are my 15th times tables, or fractions. They're 15ths. I got 6t of them, and I'm minusing 5t of them. So my next line, I want you to write all out of 15 to remind you that you're not subtracting the 15, but you're going to work in the numerator, which is 6t minus 5t. And that gives you 1t. Well, what's another way of writing 1t? T, very good. So you just write t over 15. Very good. Okay, that's what I want to see in terms of your working solution. I need to see question, method, answer. So even when you're doing this, I know you know the answer is 3x over 4. I want to see the intermediate step. Okay, I need to see that you know you don't add the denominators, but you only add the numerators. Okay, I'm going to give you one more, and you're going to try this one now. So I'm going to make it up, and it's going to be a bit harder. Let's see if I catch you with common mistakes here. Okay, let's try. I'll put a star on this one. I'm going to make it up now. Here we go. We're going to do another example. Let's see if you can do this one. So this one I've increased the difficulty slightly. I'm interested to see how many of you are going to do this correctly. So have a go with this one. A plus 1 is the numerator over 2, minus 3, which is the numerator over 5. I want you to have a go with this one. I'm going to give you, it's currently 10:44. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Have a look, 10:44, give 2 minutes to 10:46. How would you simplify this fraction here? A plus 1 over 2.
Minutes.
Sorry?
How long have we got?
2. Now it's probably, this is now 1 minute and 40 seconds now. Have a go. I want question, method, answer. And I'm really interested in how many of you are going to get this one right.
With the A and the 1, do you times them both?
Whoa. AJ's asking a very good question here. Do you times both of them or don't you? What would you do? You're going to do both. Good. AJ asked a very critical question that I'm testing here.
Can you do A plus 1? You can't.
No, because you don't know what A plus 1 is. You don't know what A is. Whatever A is, you're adding 1 to it. You just don't know what A is. I'm trying to test your understanding because I know when I give this in a test, there's common mistakes. I'll show you 2 common mistakes that students do. And your aim is to avoid them. We've got less than a minute left before 10:46.
Is it 5A negative 1 and 10?
Whoa, is it? All right, it's 10:46. Let's go. First step. You always ask, before you add or subtract the fractions, you have to check if they're the same denominators. Are they the same denominators? Let's go with Josh. Are they the same denominators? No. 2 and 5 are not the same type of fractions. You can't add them. But I need them to be the same. So what's my lowest common multiple here? Let's go with Rihanna. 10. Very good. Lowest common multiple is 10. So 2 and 5 have a common multiple of 10. So I need to change them. In your first line, you should be wanting to change them to 10s. So you need to change it to a 10. Question is, how do I change it from a 2 to a 10 or a 5 to a 10? What would I do, Jake? How do I change from a 2 to a 10? What do I times it by?
Multiply by 5 and to the other one multiply by 2.
Very good. So I'm going to multiply the 2 by 5 to get to the 10. But if I times it by 5 on the bottom, this is where the first mistake is. Most students will write times 5. But what you remember is, in the numerator, it's not one term, you've got 2 terms. So when you say 5 groups of this, it's the same thing as saying 5 times a plus 1, which is back to 5g. So exercise 5g, you have to times 5 groups of a and 5 groups of 1. Most students only do 5 times a. So that's the first common mistake. Okay, so there are 2 terms here, and you're saying 5 groups or whatever's there, means you should have 5 of these a's and 5 of these 1s. So the first thing is you should be timesing 5 to both of them, or a better way of writing it is you should have wrote it as 5 times a plus 1. That helps you remember that you expand to both terms. So if you did that correctly, your next line should be 5 groups of a plus 5 over 10. Hands up if you got that first step correct. Very good. If you didn't get it correct, it means that might have been a mistake there. Okay, next one. Jake said times the other one by 2, which he was correct. Times the 5 by 2 gets you 10, but you times the top by 2, and most of you would have gotten this correct. So 6 over 10 would have been okay. All right, so if you've got to that third line and you've done all that correctly, that's good. Now it's all in under over 10. You can write them all together and say it's all out of 10. I've got 5a plus 5, and I'm minusing 6. Okay? Answering the question, 5a plus 5 minus 6. This is the second mistake the students may do. Can I add 5a and 5 together? No. Okay, so just because that doesn't have an a doesn't mean you can add them together. 5a is 5 groups of a. This is just 5. So remember the types of terms. I've got 1, 2, 3 terms. This is a constant term. That's a constant term. And this is an a term. So you can't group a and constant. Constants go with constants. A's go with a's. So here, you can only add the 5 and negative 6 because they are constant terms. They're numbers or terms without a letter. Okay, whereas 5a has a letter. So that's why your answer, assuming that you're adding and subtracting integers is good, it should be 5a, what's 5 minus 6 equal to? Minus 1, very good. So it should be 5a minus 1 over 10. Hands up if you got all of that correct. Well done. See, that will not be in your textbook right now, but that's what I'm testing you. I'm pushing you to think a bit further, combining 5g, 5h integers and fractions. We're combining everything that we did from the beginning of the year to now. So if you work consistently, you should be able to pick up on those skills there, okay? Please copy that down. Make sure you have that in your notes. 2 common mistakes. Top one, they don't expand both terms. And then the last one.
To work on this now?
No, you work on where you're at. So I know that most of you are probably on G or H. That's where I want you to finish off that
We're
off.
meant to be at G or H.
Correct.
I finished H.
G is expanding. H is factorizing. That was last week.
So when is this due?
This one should have been...
Which one?
G and H is due today, supposedly. But I also know a lot of students aren't there yet. So I'm just picking up 5G or 5H this week. In terms of 5E and 5F, that's next week. 5E, 5F is for this week's work.
So what do you do if we've done 5H?
Then you're working on 5A.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're working on 5A.